Hi, this is Phil, and I'm here to tell you all about the Capes and Lunatics Patreon. Get early access to all of our interviews, including the monthly Chichester chats with writer and comic book legend D.G. Chichester, new episodes of classic Capes and Lunatics shows, including The Quantum Zone, This, That, or the Third, and many, many more specials, all completely uncensored. Access starts for $3 a month, full video when you pledge $5 a month. Check out the link in our show notes, or go to patreon.com/CapesandLunatics. Hope to see you there.
This is Jeremy Adams, and you're listening to the Capes and Lunatics podcast.
In brightest day,
in blackest nights,
no evil shall escape my sight,
but those who worship evil's might.
Beware my power.
Green Lantern's light. Hello and welcome back to Sector 2814, the Green Lantern podcast. I am Phil. Joining me, as always, Master of the Core. It is.
I am Will. Hey, everyone.
And we are back to discuss Green Lantern, War of the Green Lanterns, this time from Green Lantern 65, Green Lantern Corps 59, and Green Lantern Emerald Warriors number 9.
Yep, absolutely.
And yes, you'll see lanterns of all different colors in here.
Crayola, what did he call them? The Crayola...
Was it the Crayola Corps or something?
Crayola Corps or something, yeah.
Well, I know you wanted to... Did you want to ask me a question, or is this too early?
No, okay, so I was thinking about Flashpoint, New 52, and Godhead. So Godhead is a crossover where the Green Lanterns meet the new gods for the first time, right?
Mm-hmm.
If that's the case...
First time.
Yeah, first time.
Yeah.
If that's the case, then how does Xanshi fit into New 52? Because that was a whole new god thing, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Did they mention Xanshi during New 52?
I
mean,
know.
we're going to be there soon
John Stewart. Yeah, John Stewart showed up, so if he's there, give him 5 seconds and they'll mention Xanshi.
Yeah,
that's the way it works. But I was just thinking about that. Like, how does that work? Because they're meeting the new gods for the first time, but Darkseid's already, tried to. We discussed, that series, and I love the beautiful art by, Mike Mignola, but,
yeah, and again, we discussed it. I mean, I think it was going to be a guy story, and then all of a sudden they swapped him out for John. So
yeah, yeah, and. Two things that happened in the 80s that they've just absolutely welded to Green Lantern mythos now. The death of Katmatui.
Yes.
And Xanshi.
Yes.
Two things that are just not awesome, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I know.
I mean, it was almost... The Katmatui thing is almost women in fridges before women in fridges, right?
Yeah.
I mean, actually... It is. It really is. Except it's worse because she was an uber capable Green Lantern.
Oh yeah.
And she just it's just sorry, I'm going to get off on a rant, so I will stop before I get ranty.
I mean, she was pretty much, it was like, oh well, Sinestro's gone rogue, so this is our new Korrigarian, good Green Lantern, and then how many times has Sinestro been back, but we can't bring Katmatui back?
Exactly. I mean, even my guy's been dead a couple of times now, so I think. Has Kyle been dead?
I know. Well, he looked to be dead. What was that? Was that Sinestro Corps War?
Yeah, but he wasn't.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, Hal died in Final Night, and then I think he's a Black Lantern during Wrath of the First Lantern or something. The final Jeff Johns story. I haven't read it yet, so I can't remember. Sure.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was thinking about that and went, wait a minute, that doesn't work. How does that? Just ignore it and move on, right? Exactly.
Yes. I'm sure we'll get there in great detail once. When we get there. So.
When we get there.
Yes.
New 52, here we come.
Oh, and it has nothing to do with Green Lanterns, but I didn't want to pass up the opportunity. Yes, we are recording this on June 18th, and this was the birthday of the late, great comic creator Mark Gruenwald.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. Very missed. Very much
Oh, yeah.
missed.
Whose work really spoke to myself, to Will, to many
Mm-hmm.
people.
Yep, absolutely.
His Cap, his Quasar, all of it.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. It's well, we'll have to read some Quasar tonight, right? Or some Cap.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Or Squadron Supreme.
Oh yeah. Nice.
Or heck, the Project Pegasus saga. There
Yes,
you go.
yes. Marvel 2-in-1, yeah. All right. So, should we jump into these?
Do we have any Green Lantern news?
I don't think so.
I don't remember. The new issue should be coming out fairly soon, right?
Was it this past week? I just got one not too long ago. Was that last week? It might have been.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. What happened? Yeah, I thought we just, oh no, maybe it was the last issue we discussed.
We talked about the last issue because I got it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's good. I mean, Carol kind of, well, I don't know if I should spoil that. Yeah, and something's going on with Kyle. They still haven't explained that.
Yeah, so at the end of last issue, he basically goes White Lantern or something, and boom, the other lanterns are gone, and and then Salak and somebody takes him away. I think that was the end of last issue. Well, no, the end of last issue was Carol about to get married, and a Star Sapphire ring shows up.
Yeah. I mean, Kyle's basically going off, but seems like he's just muttering. It's like all the cores are wrong. There's something wrong with all the colors, the cores.
Mm-hmm. He's certainly not wrong.
Yes. And it seems, yes, and of course, they have already announced, yes, Green Lantern will, along with, I think, pretty much everyone else, is going to be crossing through Absolute Power this summer. So,
Which I'm kind of looking forward to that. I mean, it's Mark Waid, who, has written some pretty, awesome crossovers in his tenure, and is Dan Mora doing the art on the main book, or?
Oh, I can't remember who's doing the art. I hope so. Dan Mora's art.
He's awesome, and he's a machine. He's doing 2 books a month. That is insane.
Oh yeah, especially with that great artwork. Yeah. Wait a minute. You mean friend of the show, Mark Wade?
Hi, this is Mark Wade, and you're listening to the Capes and Lunatics podcast.
Nice. Yeah, you got me there, man. I should have. I've got to step up my game.
You should come at me with that.
But yeah, so I'm looking forward to the latest issue when that comes. When I get it in the mail shortly, so we'll see how that goes. So I'm looking forward to that. I think we've decided that the 12th issue is the final issue of Green Lantern War Journal.
I believe so. Yeah, that's the last I heard. Yeah,
I think that was what we've seen. So, well, we went from 0 titles to 1 to 2, and now we're going to be back to 1. So,
I mean 3 if you counted Dallin Scott.
Yeah, I don't know. Don't get me wrong, that was a really good series, but it's not really.
Yeah, it's not core. Yeah,
core. Yeah, absolutely. All right, sir. I think that's all I have. You want to fly into these?
Oh, okay. Yes. All right. So let's begin this week with it opens. All right, Green Lantern, Volume 4, number 65. Oh Lord, so we're going to be the Volume 5 soon.
Oh yeah, that is true.
So yes, Green Lantern number 65, June 2011. War of the Green Lanterns, Part 4. Writer Jeff Johns, penciler Doug Mank, inkers Keith Champagne, Christian Alamy, Mark Irwin, Mick Gray, and Tom Guyon. So he has 5 inkers. Colorist Randy Mayer, letterer Nick J. Napolitano, and editors Darren Shawn, Eddie Berganza, and Brian Cunningham. On Oa, Krona interrogates Kilowog for the whereabouts of Hal Jordan, Guy Gardner, Cal Rayner, John Stewart, and Ganthet. When Kilowog refuses, Krona brainwashes him, introducing him into his corps. Meanwhile, Hal and Guy walk across the uninhabited snow world as they look for the greenhouse. The two finally find the greenhouse, as they fall into it. In the greenhouse, Hal and Guy find a starship called the Interceptor.
Mm-hmm.
As they enter the ship, Hal tells Guy that he plans to use the Interceptor to find Kyle and John so they can come up with a plan together. Hal pilots the Interceptor to Oa. Then Hal and Guy are attacked by brainwashed Green Lanterns. The two go to an escape pod, which leads them to Cal and John. As they talk, Cal reveals that when Carol Ferris, Sinestro, and the others were sucked into the Book of the Black, he managed to take their rings. His plan is that they all use the rings to save Ganthet. Hal chooses the yellow Sinestro Corps ring. Guy takes the Red Lantern ring. John uses the Indigo Tribe ring, and Cal uses the Blue Lantern ring. So, yes, like you were saying, yeah, I mean, this one is basically them just coming together.
Although I did want to point out that I am the Interceptor's operating system, Aya.
Mm-hmm. I knew that would catch your attention.
That was a nice touch.
Mm-hmm.
So we have Aya in continuity here. We now have Razor in continuity now in the latest Green Lantern stuff. So, I'm just saying, man.
Mm-hmm.
They're both there now.
Oh yeah.
Gotta love that last page with all of them wearing the different rings.
Oh yeah.
That's nice. Very nice. And I love that we get a nice callback, oh yeah, that's right, Guy, you've never flown with me, to call back to that Darwin Cook story, and but it was we get some comedy with them being in the pod, which is kind of cool.
I know, it's like it seems tight, and then there's like, oh, there's two pods, and the other one gets destroyed. I was
blown
like,
up.
I guess we got to go with one. But yeah, I mean, the art in this is good too, especially like the splash page of Hal holding up those rings.
Yep, exactly. Mm-hmm. It's really nice. The art's really nice in this one. Yeah, I mean, a really good issue. I mean, we got the four corpsmen together now that Krona's taken over all the lanterns. Even Kilowog at this point.
Yeah,
except for Ganthet.
Yeah, they're then a little comfortable what he's doing to Kilowog.
Mm-hmm.
So how does he break Kilowog? Like basically, is it just I
think he just
turning the power up on that yellow ring?
Yeah. Parallax just he just turns up the gain on Parallax, I think, and takes him over. And it's funny that he's the one that's causing the turbulence, right?
Yeah.
That turbulence has a name. It's Kilowog.
Kilowog.
Yeah, I thought this was a really good issue. I mean, not a lot happens, but it moves us from
point A to point B. Yeah.
Them being
gets them to Oa.
Yeah. Gets them to Oa and gets the four of them together with the rings that Hal has, and hijinks will ensue.
Oh yeah. I love when they're picking and Guy goes for the red because he's like, I got experience with it, and he goes, I'm going first. I don't want to get stuck wearing a crystal thong.
Well, and we're coming up to a scene that I just really love, but we'll get to that in a minute because something that Ganthet does that I just thought that's cool.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, I like that Cal takes the blue ring, but it's like, I don't know, there's so many limitations on those blue rings, like, not the least of which we see, yes, it charges Green Lantern.
Which is who you're fighting, so oops. Yep. But yeah, I thought this was a really good issue, nice art, and it moves the plot along, and, we get some really cool character moments here and there between, Guy and Hal, and amongst the four corpsmen as well. So good stuff.
Oh, there's also the ad in this issue also. Yes, also this week, kids, lest we forget, this was the 13th anniversary of the Green Lantern movie.
Oh, yeah. You sent me that, and that was a rough few months for me and the boys.
Never forget.
We had such high hopes for
John Carter?
John Carter was that summer, and then Green Lantern. It was like, two of our favorite things, and they're both just, ugh. Oh well, we're about to get a Lanterns book. We're about to get a Lanterns TV show, so it's going to be good.
Well, hopefully, yes. I mean,
crossing my fingers.
Hopefully, in our lifetime, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. All right. So on to the next one.
You bet.
All right. All right, so now we jump to Green Lantern Corps, Volume 2, number 59, from June 2011. War of the Green Lanterns, Part 5. Writer Tony Bedard, penciler Tyler Kirkham. inker Matt Banning, colorists Naira Fino and Rod Reyes, letterer Pat Brousseau, and editors Darren Shawn and Brian Cunningham. Hal, Guy, Kyle, and John train in the use of their new rings. John tries to use the ring, but he can't form a construct. Cal also can't use his ring because Blue Lantern rings only work when Green Lantern rings are close. Suddenly, Green Lanterns attack the Earthmen, which supercharges Kyle and the Green Lantern's rings. Ganthet tries to reason with the Green Lanterns, but they continue to attack him. The Earthmen then help Ganthet, who tells them that using rings from other cores was not a good idea. Suddenly, Mogo appears and attacks them. So, yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, exactly. And I love Ganthet here. You know, he's just, knocked out a bunch of Green Lanterns, and then, our guys show up. And he goes, what? He takes time out to say, you guys are stupid. And his first thing is, Jordan, did you put them up to this? That's perfect.
A stupid plan that didn't get thought through. Jordan, is this your plan?
Jordan did it. That's Jordan. Yep, it's got to be Hal Jordan.
But yeah, John,
this was foolhardy in the extreme.
But yeah, it's like,
and of course, and Hal says, you can write me up later. Okay.
Oh yeah, there's this guy. The Crayola cavalry has arrived.
There you go. That's what it was.
Lantern Rainer, you are not prepared to wield a blue ring. Lantern Stewart, you are most ill-suited for indigo, and that red ring is likely a death sentence for Lantern Gardner.
Who put you up to this, Jordan? Yep.
Oh yeah, and then wear that ring much longer, Lantern Jordan. You will never be free of its corrupting influence.
I do love after Mogo attacks that double-page splash.
Oh yeah,
pretty amazing.
Yeah, again, it's like you said. I mean, not a ton happens in this issue, but it is good. I mean, just them working with those rings and getting the Ganthet.
Mm-hmm. Well, and not a lot. I was thinking about this too as I was reading it. Not a lot of time has passed, so we're like 4 issues in, and maybe 30 minutes, an hour has passed since, because the Interceptor made it from where Hal and Guy was to Oa in like 20 minutes, right? So the end when John and Kyle take their rings off, that was like 20 minutes ago or something, or even less. I think they said no. That's where Hal says that's where they took their rings off 20 minutes ago.
Oh yeah.
And then the Interceptor gets there. I think the Interceptor gets there a lot even faster than 20 minutes. I mean, it's fast.
Mm-hmm. Which I was like, didn't Hal say he had to pilot the Interceptor by manual, so they didn't crash any planets or stars or anything? I'm like, I know he's a great pilot, but if it's going that fast, I'm like,
how are you gonna?
Would his human reflexes even be able to do that?
Probably not, but it sounds really cool. Okay, we're just gonna go with it because he makes really stupid decisions at times, and sometimes he makes really good decisions.
Yes.
It's a grab bag.
So yeah, they're trying to get through those Green Lanterns, and yes, Mogo attacks. So
yeah, and that double page spread with Mogo is pretty darn sweet.
And him, and then all those lanterns standing over Ganthet. Yeah,
and Ganthet, lest we forget, lost a hand because of the ring blew up, right? So.
Well, that's the other thing, too, maybe why this seems to go quick, because like some of those last couple pages, it's like that one's only 3 panels.
Yeah.
And then there's only 3 panels on the next page. There's 4 there. But yeah, when Mogo blasts, there's only 2 panels there, and then there's a 2-page spread, and then that last page is another splash. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I mean that makes it read fast.
Yeah, it's not a high panel count now.
Yep. But yeah, it's a good issue.
Oh yeah.
Again, I think that's still my favorite part is did Jordan put you up to this? It's like, of course he did. Come on, who are we talking about here?
What do you think? It's like the other 3. I mean, their costumes look like actual lantern. Whatever core they're wearing. Their but John's, it just looks like a purple marine outfit.
Yeah, which is kind of weird because that's not really what the Indigo Tribe looked like, if I remember correctly. But I mean, it kind of does. He has the symbol on I don't know. It's strange.
Unless maybe that's why he's having trouble with the ring. Too much of his subconscious is working on his appearance or whatever. Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, this was a good issue. I mean, you're right, lots of splash pages and that double page splash, but things are moving. I mean, this moves a lot. I'm going to bring up Brightest Day, Phil. This seems to be plotted much tighter than Brightest Day because each of these issues is moving things along. I mean, we're into this and lots of stuff has already happened at this point, right?
Yeah.
So I think the pacing on this is certainly an improvement over what we were experiencing with Brightest Day, but this is going really well, I think.
Yeah. And again, it probably helps that once all the four corpsmen meet up, we're just following like one storyline here. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So should we get to the last one already?
Let's do it.
All right. Boy, if I knew these were going to read this fast, I would have added another one or something. All right. All right. Green Lantern Emerald Warriors number 9, War of the Green Lanterns Part 6, from June 2011. Writer Peter Tomasi, penciler Fernando Passarin, inker Cam Smith, colorist Gabe Edelab, letterer Rob Lee, and editors Darren Shawn and Brian Cunningham. As the Earthmen escape from Mogo's attacks, the brainwashed Green Lanterns also attack them. The Earthmen then escape underground. Safe from Mogo for now, the Earthmen plan their next course of action. Hal and Guy believe that they should head for the central power battery and extract Parallax from it. But John believes that they should save Mogo. Cal puts it in a vote, with him, Hal, and Guy voting for the battery, and John voting for Mogo. Traveling underground, the Earthmen find a secret room that contains several of the Guardian secrets. Hal then realizes that they are in the Foundry, the place where all rings and batteries are forged. Guy finds Krona's gauntlet and tries to take it, but the Earthmen are suddenly attacked by a mysterious creature with Green Lantern armor. The Earthmen show the creature that they are Green Lanterns, and the creature gives Guy the gauntlet. Hal's ring identifies the creature as Shed, a servant of the Green Lantern Corps. The creature then leaves. The Earthmen then use a computer to discover Mogo's recent activities, realizing that Mogo is sending corrupted rings to Lantern recruits. John decides to help Mogo, and Cal agrees. The two teleport away. Hal and Guy travel to the battery, but they are suddenly attacked by the entities who are using the Guardians as hosts. Okay, here's a question. Why are we debating when, if you take Parallax out of that battery, isn't that going to free Mogo?
Exactly. For John being the tactician, this seems to be a bad decision.
Yeah.
Because, he doesn't have to stop Mogo. If they take care of the battery, they do both. So why not throw your effort to that?
And you get the bonus effect. You're going to free every other Green Lantern, too.
Exactly. Yeah. So that didn't make a lot of sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
But, I would have thought that, you would have thought that all of them would have just gone for that because that's what they needed to do. That seems to be the most bang for their buck of whatever they're going to, whatever effort they're going to put out. I do, what is that, page 2 and 3? That is a pretty awesome double page splash of them fighting the entire Green Lantern Corps.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I even like that, like the cover, too, because, just like, you get the logo in the middle and then them just above or below it.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. Absolutely. But yeah, I think that's a really valid criticism of why. I mean, I think it had to happen because the plot said it needed to have it happen.
Yeah, I mean, they could have just had, I know they had to draw this out, but it's like, had they all gone for the battery, well, it's like, oh, well, Krona knows they're going to come for the battery, so that's going to be the most heavily guarded thing, so there's going to be all kinds of Green Lanterns and whatever else around it, so.
Yeah, and I think the plot required them to split their forces, right?
Yeah, because Hal Jordan's no leader.
Sure he is. These idiots are following him, right?
Oh, God. Guy, I feel like I'm like the Tunnel King, Charlie Bronson, in The Great Escape, digging right under the Germans' noses.
Yeah, I just hope there's not a bunch of Germans with machine guns up there, right? Well, It turns out there are Guardians with entities up there.
And then, so when they started, they had to dig through 780 miles of tunnel to get there. You would think someone might detect that.
Yeah, you would think. And they get up there, and boom, all of the entities except Parallax, right? 1, 2, 3, 6. Wait a minute. Let's see. There's 7 total, right?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, there's just 6 of them. So because Parallax is obviously
he's in the battery, yeah.
Battery, yeah.
Yeah, so what did you think about Shed, this creature guarding the Foundry?
I'm interested to learn more about that, because I think this is setting up, they talk about, hey, the first lantern. They mentioned some things, who was the first lantern and why is this being protected? And of course, Krona's Gauntlet comes into play later on, during the Renegade arc in New 52. So, yeah, I think that this was interesting. I would like to. We'll probably find out more about this lantern protector, whatever, Shed, later, I assume. But it's nice that it's kind of set up here so that when we get to it later, we've already been. The plans have been laid for it.
Yeah. And you already mentioned it, but yes, we are again. So we had to get a Xanshi reference in here because when John's talking about Mogo, guys like, oh yeah, if anybody knows how to take out a planet, it's you.
Again, that was Darkseid. That wasn't John.
We didn't ask for help.
Yeah, and I don't know what he and the Martian Manhunter would do to make that not happen in the 4 seconds that they had to figure it out. So.
And I love John. John gets in his face and, Guy, get your hands off me, Mr. Compassion, before I go bulimic on you and cough up the ring.
Yep. I did think it's interesting that Guy put on the gauntlet. So he's green and red at this point.
I just found it interesting when Hal was yelling at John and Guy, and he's like, you even look at his face like, enough, control yourselves, damn it, or I'll do it for you. I'm like, boy, that's Sinestro Jr. right there. Okay.
That's right. He is in the Sinestro Corps now. But that last flash is nice. I mean, with the entities minus Parallax inside the Guardians, all around them. Oh, yeah. And it's cool that because Guy, I think we see him making constructs with a red ring, which we typically don't see that, right? Which I thought was kind of a nice touch.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and another thing, when they get down to that foundry, this is what was bugging me. They're like, oh yeah, this is where all the rings and batteries are forged. All these years, and I've never been down here before. I'm like, what was it? Oa destroyed for a while? Wasn't this a new foundry?
Yeah. We're not going to... Yeah, Phil, I'm surprised you bring that up because of who destroyed Oa.
I mean, Hal Jordan, yeah.
I think that was Kyle.
But I'm like, and again, it just seems like, when they brought it back, it's like, oh, everything's brand new. It's like, just to save everyone the trouble, why couldn't they just been like, oh yeah, we kind of like pulled old Oa out of like time, out of time or something, or,
hyper time.
2 seconds before it was destroyed or something, something.
Yeah. I do like that we get to see the foundry. I mean,
yes.
I've always thought I thought that was a cool addition, especially when we got to see Ganthet forge his own ring.
Yes.
I thought that was neat.
And of course, there's Manhunter's parts down there, so John picks up some Manhunter guns.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, they're Manhunter guns. They're red and blue. So yeah, I mean, that's how the issue ends. Is that John and Kyle decide to go after Mogo, and then you see Hal and Guy start digging for that battery, and that's when all those possessed Guardians show up.
Yep, exactly. I mean, it ends on a really good cliffhanger. They've gone from bad to worse, right? Mm-hmm. Things are probably going to get even worse as we go on through this.
I mean, so far we've been ended on some pretty good cliffhangers. I mean, first it was like Hal and Guy on that ice planet, and I mean, even this week it's like first they put on the rings, and the second cliffhanger is Mogo, and now this cliffhanger, so. Yeah,
it's got some. It's really well paced, and it keeps you wanting to keep reading.
And I mean, I really compliment how this is keeping pace, and everything seems to be running smoothly. 3 issues today, 3 different writers.
Yeah, we had Jeff Johns, we had Tony Bedard, and who was in Emerald Warriors?
Was this
or was Tony Bedard Emerald Warriors?
No, I'm pretty sure he was the core. This is Peter Tomasi.
Oh yeah, Peter Tomasi. So yeah, and it all is
Yeah.
It all moves together. I mean, and I think that's if you think about it, a callback to how well Sinestro Corps War played out with all the different writers, how well Blackest Night played out with even more writers, and this is good.
Yeah, I think they probably went old school where it's like everyone sat down and this was probably all plotted out and it's like, okay, here's part 1, this is what you have to do in part 1, then it's going to jump to this guy over here, part 2, he's going to have to get it from this point to this point. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely.
And remember who's wearing which rings.
Exactly. Yeah, who's got what? And remember, Ganthet's going to give sass about it later. So
it's all that damn.
Even though he just exactly. Well, how many parts do we have total for War of the Green Lanterns? Because I think there's only 4 issues left.
It might hold on, because there's only 2 more weeks left of this. Come on, open.
So 6 issues then probably.
I'm trying to remember the last week. There we go. That's scheduled to open. All right, next week will be 3 issues again. It'll be the Green Lantern Corps, and the Emerald Wars issues. Oh yeah, and then the last week will only be 3, so we'll do Green Lantern 67, and then the 2-issue War of the Green Lanterns Aftermath. So.
Cool. Yeah. Very cool.
Yep. So if you count those 2 Aftermath issues, only 6 more issues left.
Nice. It's certainly more efficient than Brightest Day.
Oh yeah. And again, it's how many different writers did we hit? I mean, we only had 2 writers on Brightest Day, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So. It was just,
but again, we were following so many characters, and
it just felt so unfocused. This is focused. This is we are very focused on what's going on.
It's self-contained. It's a Green Lantern event. It's only taking place in the Green Lantern books. Yeah, Brightest Day. I think we're worried about. Okay, well, what's happening all in this corner of the DC universe, and this corner of the DC universe, and
there's a white net. Sorry, every time I keep bringing that up.
Where it's like, hey, we need Firestorm to guest appear. So. Let's line that up. White net.
It's going to be a thing now, totally.
All right. I mean, that's a short one, but I mean, again, it's like, things are progressing quickly here.
I mean, it was a good week too, because we got we got big action. I mean, some of those double page splashes are just gorgeous. But we also got some really good character moments between, Ganthet and Hal and Kyle and John and Guy and just all of those. I mean, and that's who we're focused on throughout all of these issues are those characters, just those characters, because everybody else, I mean, we get a little Krona brainwashing, Kilowog, but it's really tightly focused on these characters that are not under the sway of Parallax and Krona, and how are they going to save the day? I mean, and it keeps getting worse. So, really, really good week.
Yeah, again, it'll be interesting to see how they kind of sort of tie up things before New 52, although we kind of don't really have to.
Yeah, exactly. Xanshi. Darn it.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the thing. We should keep count how many times, if and how often do they mention Xanshi in the New 52?
Yeah, exactly.
but they haven't met the new god yet.
Exactly. I don't think that was perhaps as well thought out as maybe it should have been, but hey, that's just me.
I mean, do you think maybe should that story have been kind of not forgotten, but maybe just like, oh yeah, maybe it's not classified as it's not completely cemented in actual continuity and stuff
anymore? Yeah. And I'll be curious to see, because Jeff Johns leaves the title, then he comes back for one last arc, which is the Wrath of the First Lantern, right?
Yeah.
So I'll be curious to see, one, how things change after he leaves, and then what happens when he comes back, and then after that, how drastically do things change? Once he's off the title for good, I guess at this point.
Yeah. Okay, I got a question for you. What would have been worse? What you got in Emerald Twilight with Hal, or if they would have swapped them and he would have gotten pinned with the Xanshi thing for time memorial.
Ugh. Knowing that Emerald Twilight comes out good.
In hindsight, yes.
In hindsight, Emerald Twilight. I just...
Because they're still beating John with Xanshi to this day, pretty much.
And that's 30 years later, dude. I mean, almost 30 years later.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, over 30 years later. Yeah, 94. So, yeah, like 35 years, 36 years later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that story did kind of some long-term damage to John as a character. And, okay, and I'm going to say something that might be controversial here. As much as I don't like a lot of what happened in Volume 6 or 7 or whatever the heck it is, I don't know, the Jeffrey Thorne run.
Yes, yeah.
I thought it felt like to me one of his goals was to finally get John past that and have him be something that wasn't defined by failure.
Yeah.
Right? Because Xanshi, since that series, that has been the thing that has defined Jon Stewart, and that's not, in my opinion, I really don't think that was fair to that character.
Yeah.
To saddle him with that for this long, right? I mean, plus we need Kat Matui back, but that's a whole other argument. But
yeah, and again, it's like anytime we kind of move him past him or do something different with John, it seems like we always like take a step back after a while. It's like, again, he's a guardian, and all of a sudden, nope, no, he's not.
Yep. Oh, and now he's an ascended being, and maybe he still is, but he has to wear this ring. I really want to understand what's happening in the Green Lantern War Journal series. I mean, I'm caught up, but
Yeah.
There are still a lot of unanswered questions around exactly which John this is.
Yeah.
Because there's just so many unanswered questions from Volume 6, 7, whatever the heck volume it is.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Emerald Knights follow-up. And, a lot of things just weren't really answered, and they were dropped for a year, until we got, the new series.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I know.
And I'm anxious for answers because there's some things that still don't quite make sense. I mean, and there are, of course, characters that are dead that were showed dead that are now alive without, and we haven't had a universal reboot since then. We had Dark Crisis, but that wasn't a reboot, okay?
No, never. We never rebooted.
Everything happened everywhere all the time. I don't know, but yeah, I would. The cool thing, I mean, and you at the time, I was certainly annoyed with Emerald Twilight because of what was done to Hal, But looking back in hindsight, it really was, I think, ultimately for the best. Because it gave us Kyle, which, really kind of revitalized Green Lantern. And I mean, because with Emerald Twilight, Green Lantern went from being, it looked and felt like an older generation of a comic, right? It's just the way it was written, the art style, it just felt older.
Yeah, He Who Will Not Be Named really went old school with like this,
And then with Emerald Twilight, it was suddenly a modern book, and to be honest, and all props to Darryl Banks and to Ron Mars, it reads modern today, and it's 30 years old. So they did an amazing job. And then gradually after they left, Green Lantern, the title kind of was in a slump and going down. We brought Ron Mars back to write the last 6 issues, and then we get Rebirth, which gives us a lot of really cool stuff. A lot of really cool stuff that we're playing with in War of the Green Lanterns right now.
Oh, yeah.
With the entities and Krona, and I'll be honest, I'm going to assume I didn't realize this because I'm me. But at the time, I'm sure I did not realize that it was Krona, and it's so obvious now because you think about Green Lantern big bads, right? Krona is kind of the first one, the Manhunters, Krona, and the way he's brought in. Granted, he was brought in during that kind of weird, New Guardians arc, which not really a lot happened during, But to bring him in, I thought was really, really a cool idea. And I was like, oh, that's Krona. Cool. I know who Krona is now. I'm sure that's what I didn't figure that one out, of course. But so I'm looking forward to, we're going to get the first appearance of Simon Baz coming up in New 52. Mm-hmm. I think I may have read one or two of those issues. I'm not sure. And then I've not read, Jeff Johns' final story. I have not read Wrath of the First Lantern, so I'm looking forward to that too. Lots of good stuff still coming. Lots of stuff in the past that's been good, and lots of good stuff still coming up.
Heck yeah! All right. So, anything else, Mr. Will?
I think I've ranted and raved enough tonight.
All right, so like I said, next week will be part 3, and we'll cover, of course, Green Lantern 66, Green Lantern Corps 60, and Green Lantern Emerald Warriors 10. And then in 2 weeks, we'll wrap it up with Green Lantern 67 and War of the Green Lanterns Aftermath 1 and 2. And then it's only 2 more episodes after that until we get to Flashpoint.
What is that, Phil? What happens in Flashpoint? Stuff happens.
Oh, yeah.
Stuff indeed.
All right. So, so send us your thoughts. Email. Well, I forgot to do something else, but I can do this. All right. I'm trying to get fancy in my old age here. All right, kids. So, send us your thoughts on the upcoming stuff, what we covered here tonight. Email us, CapesandLunatics at gmail.com, or call the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. Yes, in the added bonus, I don't have to memorize it anymore. All right, so you can find all things Capes Lunatics, episodes, social media, merchandise. Get your brand new Capes Lunatics merch with all the new logos. You can find... you just if you want to rain random money on us through the Cash App link and be very generous, there's a link for that.
Make it rain.
And of course the Patreon, where Lilith and I try to give you something different, something crazy, just bonus content just for the patrons. So yes, and again, you can rain random money on us there, like we're that young girl dancing.
She looks like she was just working a stripper pole down at Divas.
I love Drunk Justin. All right, so yes. So find it all in one place. That's tubespace.io/CapesandLunatics Podcast Network. That's tubespace.io/CapesandLunatics Podcast Network. It's in the show notes, and if you're watching on YouTube, it's right there on the screen.
More vicious and brutal than ever.
And again, yes, the direct link to Patreon right there, patreon.com/CapesandLunatics. All right, Mr. Will Allred, master of the core, master of the quantum zone, master of podcasting, and several successful Kickstarters. Where can people get a hold of you?
You can find me at Walred, at Gmail and Blue Sky and Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and other places that I probably can't even remember at this point. But if you'd like to check out the comics that I write, you can do that at CrossoverDivision.com for Crossover Division. Thank you, sir. Number 5, we were about to get it last week. We had a few last edits. I'm hoping that today or tomorrow we can get it sent out. Nice. So going to the printer. You can check out Crossover Division at CrossoverDivision.com. If you want to check out Diary of Night, you can do that at DiaryofNight.com. And you obviously have great taste because you're here hanging out with Phil and I talking about Green Lantern, and that means you probably love Marvel's Quasar almost as much as we do. So if you'd like to find out more about Quasar, you can do that at the Quantum Zone, quantumzone.org.
I'll put it in my navel.
Hey, boys, you look at the party? I love the party.
Must have great taste because you're here listening to us old nerds talk.
Exactly.
I hope it's going somewhere nice. They aren't even attempting to enter our orifices.
God, I love that quote.
Stay tuned for our Tom DeFalco interview in July.
How did he get that through?
Of
course, I love Hal Jordan, of course.
I, of course, love Hal Jordan.
No matter how foolhardy his decisions.
And sometimes because of how foolhardy his decisions are.
All right. Thank you for joining us again next week for the Green Lanterns Part 3. And then we'll wrap it up in 2 weeks in Part 4. That's some Green Lantern 4, some Green Lantern Emerald Warriors, and then it's on the Flashpoint, and then New 52.
Yep. Yeah, there are 2 series in Flashpoint, right?
Yes. It's the Hal Jordan one, and there's the Alvin Sur one.
Alvin Sur one. Cool.
Yeah, I think
Or no, it's 2-ish. All right, we'll come back next time, and remember, watch out for those Crayolas. Good night.
Nice.